Welcome to Coffee with Karl, where thoughtful conversation meets strong coffee. I'm your host, Karl Meneghella, coming to you from Prayer Buddhist University here in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. This show is about ideas, big and small. Ideas to get you thinking. For this episode of Coffee with Karl, we're going to look at something very personal that we all have. I'm not talking about a full wallet in your pocket, I'm talking about ego. And we're going to look at ways of A, understanding ego, and B, an idea which I haven't heard of before, which I think is very interesting, detoxing ego. So Mr. Kreiser, thank you very much for being here. Again, a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Mr. Bradley, thank you so
Absolute
much.
pleasure.
And Mr. Steve, thank you very much.
Welcome.
So I suppose we could start with what do we think ego is for each of us? If you'd like to, who would like to start?
Oh, okay.
You can see there's no script here.
I volunteered. Well, ego is that feeling we get, the emotion we get when we're proven wrong or we lose a game and we feel that crushing impact. And we don't like it sometimes. You know, it's that.
Okay.
And that can be a positive. My brother's very foremost in his field. He's very well renowned for what he does, and he's done that because he's very ego driven. Like when we were kids growing up, everything we did had to be a competition, and he had to win. That was his nature.
Yes, yes.
That was always his nature, and he'd always got something to prove. And as he grew older, he focused that ego into driving himself to perfection, if you like. He strived for perfection in everything he did. Sometimes he was a pain in the ass to be around, to be honest, you know,
Yes.
because of that. But it drove him on, and he was very singular-minded and focused on what he was doing. Me, on the other hand, I was interested in everything, and I would use the analogy that he was like a sniper. I was more of a shotgun.
So before we go off track, so ego to you is this sense of competition, is that right?
Not necessarily competition, but not wanting to lose.
Not wanting to lose.
Wanting to
Okay,
be
so
right,
needing
wanting
to win.
Yeah,
Okay,
they need
very
to
good.
win.
Mr. Kreiser, your view of ego?
So for me, ego is about if my feelings are hurt because of something which goes against my belief. That belief may be right or wrong. And if something happens to hurt that belief, correct, it makes me angry. So that's actually about ego.
That's the ego rising.
Yes.
I'm going to not ask Mr. Bradley yet, because I know this is a topic very close to him, so I'll venture forth my view, because I think we're going to have some enlightenment here. So my sense of ego is somewhere in between both of yours. My brother has a very intrinsic lexus of motivation, identity, whatever. He's self-motivated. I know that one of my flaws is I need external affirmation. I understand this about myself. I like to perform good jobs and have other people acknowledge that. Right? That's how I'm wired. For me, ego has been a pushing force to make me want to excel. I want to be known as a person who delivers. And I like that. So I see it as being something good, but it also means at times I'm a slave to my ego. All right? I think that's a negative. I know that I need that external locus of acknowledgement, which I think is in some ways a weakness. Right? I've been lucky that I've been in positions where I can get that. But anyway, and we're not talking about Freud's sense of ego, but now I'd like to go to Mr. Bradley about ego.
I mean, it brings to how I would define ego. My being a coach gets in a lot of conversation with people who say, I need to manage this. So I keep asking, what is ego for you? So if I hear you, what if I rephrase what I heard from you? You talked about it's about winning. Opposite of that, it's about not losing.
Yes.
Right. It's about being scared of my being seen wrong, my belief being challenged. And you said, sometimes I achieve, and what if I don't achieve?
Yes, yes.
Right. So ego, in that sense, I think we are saying the same thing in different ways. It's my scared person. Is my ego. It come to defend us. So the scared person is what we talked about. I am scared of losing. I'm scared of my belief being challenged. I'm scared of my being seen as an unachiever. So it's a scared person who comes in to defend us. So
Right.
we usually say an egoistic person is a bad person, but if you really understand from what we said, if you dive deep into it, it's actually a weak person. Because he's scared that what if I lose? That's what makes you egoistic. Means something comes out to protect you and support you to get there. And that you will do at any cost. So that's a negative piece. Because you are scared to lose, you would want to win at any cost. Because
Right.
you don't want the belief to be challenged, you want to establish that belief, you force that in.
Argue.
And that
yes.
arrogance is then interpreted as ego, but whereas it in deeper sense
Covering fear.
is your scared person.
Interesting. Okay. So then,
just to add to that.
please.
So, in my example, right? So, if my belief is right, then it is about protecting the right thing, right? But if my belief is wrong, then actually it goes into the ego mood.
To protect.
Right? Then I'm trying to defend undefendable position.
Protect.
Yeah.
And then it escalates.
I love the way we can actually argue, because I actually disagree. If you are defending something that's right, you're still defending your belief. Maybe it doesn't need defending, right? But we're still defending our attachment to it, right? And I think maybe it's still about defending us. So I think there's a hint I'm getting there of, again, that fear, and defending something that's wrong out of stubbornness, arrogance, ego, whatever it is. I think that's a negative incarnation of ego. Maybe.
Just a point I picked up on here, Karl, it was something you said. As you get older, I'm the oldest person here, I think.
You mellow down, right?
No, but the ego, it changes or it moves.
Right.
Or I don't know if I've done that consciously or if it's subconscious.
Where did it move? Was my hair moved? It
Yeah,
moved away.
that disappeared, yeah.
Where did you? So when you say move,
So, well, it becomes less important. It becomes smaller, maybe. I don't know, because here's the thing. Two lessons that I observed amongst myself. One is when I was fencing, coaching fencing with my students. As a coach,
could I clarify fencing? But some of the audience will not understand.
okay,
So
that's-
fencing is sword fighting.
sword fighting, Olympic sword fighting. Yeah. So I'm a fencing master. But as a coach, if I've got a class of say 15 students, in that lesson, say we've got an hour's lesson, I'm going to be taking a lot more hits than they do. I'll be taking
Yes.
hits, and I've got to, I've got to show them a technique, and then demonstrate it, then let them practice, and I'll let them practice together in pairs, and then I'll pull them out one by one and practice with them. I have to let them win, because
Yes,
they need
yes.
to feel that little rush of success. It's good for them to see that oh yeah, this works, this technique is really good, it works. So I'm taking all the hits. So I've got to put the ego aside. It's not about winning then. I'm encouraging the students to feel that win. And that's good for them. It boosts their confidence. The other thing, and I think we probably all know this sitting around this table because we've got a similar common thread, is when I did my first thesis, I realised I knew very little about my subject.
Right.
You know, I was studying the subject thinking I know what I'm doing, and I did my research, and all of a sudden there's this massive knowledge, and I only know a little bit. You know, and all this, you know, I've not studied all the other subjects. And that was like, oh yeah, you know, so that subdues the ego. It sort of puts you in your place, that humility. It's like, I don't know much at all. That's a big admission. And the other thing is, which is interesting, and I don't know if it's relevant, but I've never felt the need to go to a graduation ceremony.
Yes. I went to my first one.
I've never been to one. I've never had a graduation. So,
Well, you've had a graduation, you just haven't participated in the ceremony.
yeah, I mean,
ceremony.
you know, I finish the course, I take the exams, do whatever, submit my thesis, it gets approved and everything, and it's like, okay, guys, give me my certificate, I want to walk away. Look, I don't need the show.
yep.
I don't need the adoration and applaud from other people. I don't. You said you felt you need that. You need the recognition.
Recognition, yes.
I don't feel that, and I never announce my title. I never use it unless somebody asks me. You know, it's like secondary to me.
I feel something there resonates with me. I like playing chess, and now I'm comfortable in that I'm a okay chess player.
Yeah,
Now, I'm
yeah.
not great, but I'm
Yeah.
a pretty good chess player. And so with my nephew, for example, or with other people, some people, I'll actually let them win or give them a break. So he'll move something and say, look, you might want to stop that because you're going to lose your queen. And when the person wins, I'll say, I got you. I think, yeah, you got me.
Yeah,
I gave you
yeah.
your queen back.
Well,
But I played with an Indian guy many years ago in Fitzroy Crossing, Western Australia, Jyoti Rajan. I was there for 3 years. I won the first game of chess. I did not win a single game of chess after for 3 years, but I kept playing. And that to me was a real discovery where even though I knew I would learn, it was making me a better player. And that was a big step for me. I did not win another game against him.
I went on a fencing training course for coaches, and there was about 20 coaches, and I had the pleasure of being trained by the fencing coach who was the Olympic coach for the British team. His name was Zanik Wojciechowski. He's a Polish immigrant, Hungarian, I believe. And he came into class, and at the time he was 72 years old, white-haired, beard, you know.
So it was you.
Same as me now, yeah. I wasn't then, but I am now, yeah. But he was a terrific fencer. He was renowned. And he walked into class and he actually pulled me out and he said, here you go, Steve, take this. And he gave me an envelope. He says, keep that in your hand. And he pulled out one of his best students and launched an attack. And it, there's this, very fast
blur,
action.
yes.
And he was very sprightly for a 72-year-old, very, very lively, full of energy. And he said, Steve, open the paper. And on this paper, he'd written down a 9-move attack.
Which he did.
Which he performed. And so he'd preempted his move, not only his move, but his opponent's counter move, and it was a 9-move attack. And he said, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how good you need to be an Olympic fencer. And it totally destroyed me because I thought, on a good day, I can perhaps do 4 or 5 at best. And he was 9 moves ahead. It was like, wow. It was absolutely stunning.
Could we, for a minute now, let's go back to Mr. Bradley, because I know you were talking before about detoxing ego, and I'm really intrigued because I know I have weaknesses about ego, right? And I think it can be a good motivator as well as a negative one, all right? I think we can agree on that. Tell us more about the idea of detoxing ego.
Let's go to what Christ has said. What I believe is right, so I'll define. So you are expecting others to see your belief as right. So that's why you're trying to defend. But
others
I
may have a
believe
different-
is exactly. So we have no right to expect others to accept what I believe is right.
Yes.
Because they will have their own perspective.
Yes.
Because we must understand we are 4 different worlds sitting here. That's why Jim Ray said, when 2 worlds collide.
Yes.
So we come.
And we have 4 different worlds.
So when we have 4 people, we are looking at my own world, the way I have defined, your world you have defined, the way you are. So you see everything from your worldview, your worldview, my worldview, and that's fair. It's where I come from and what my perspectives are. And we expect you to be in my world. And when you come into a conversation, we try to push my world into somebody else. And that's why we have confusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why Jim Rees said, when 2 worlds collide. So imagine we are sitting here with 4 different globes on our head. And we bring our world to the table. And we try you to see my world. And I'm not ready to see your world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is where ego comes in. But the construct of ego is the labeling. We say, coming to your question, I'm trying to gradually, dive into that. From birth, so there are 3 different stages of maturity. So when you are born, you are dependent.
Yes.
Then you become interdependent.
Yes. So can we slow down for a second?
So-
dependent, so you're reliant
when
on
you're
your
born,
mother and your
you have
father
mother,
for your
father to
survival.
feed you.
So you are dependent on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you want to
interdependent.
become independent.
Yes.
Then the independence level, when we were young, we would have got independent when we were like probably in our late teens. But today, a 5-year-old
Wants to become independent.
will tell you, no, these clothes won't work. This is not the hairstyle I want to wear.
Yes. Yes.
So the speed of independence has shrunk. So C, which means the I factor of the child is forming at the age of 4 or 5, whereas it formed to us when we were in our late or mid-teens.
Yes.
So the dependence to independence is happening much faster, right? So the I is getting stronger because they're carrying it longer than we did,
Yes. Yes.
right?
So that would explain some of the behaviours which we find uncomfortable or whatever
Uncomfortable.
with some of the young.
Exactly.
I
Then-
call that what? I call that moving from my parents' hairstyle to my own hairstyle. That's the first change.
Yeah, and then that
independence
happens.
brings.
I
That
used to have
happens
a
at much
hairstyle.
younger age now. Even
Yes.
the clothing they will design, this won't match, right? And then you come into from independent, then you become interdependent. That is when teams are formed, right? So the I factor. So when you come into a team, you have a collection of I's. And everyone wants to keep that I identified. So this is what we call, and then if they do everything. So I is formed by, we say, I am a Sri Lankan, I am Australian, I am British, I am Indian Thai. Then you say, I am a Christian, I am a Hindu, I am a Muslim, I am a Catholic, whatever. I am a Tamil, I am a Sinhalese. So we call ourselves, we start labeling. I am a PhD, I am a CEO, I am a director of a company. So all these frames is what we wear when we come forward. So when we say, I am this, I am that, I am that, so there's so much of masking that comes around us.
Yes.
And we try to protect that. So we don't say, so I don't say I speak the language of Tamil, or my mother tongue is Tamil. We don't say, instead of saying I'm a Tamil,
Yes.
why don't you say my mother language is Tamil? My birth land is Australia. Instead of saying I am an Australian, the moment you say I am an Australian, you are creating an identity, which you will try to protect.
Yes. Yes.
So the detoxing piece about moving away from that I factor, because it's the I that it tries to defend. You see, my world is created based on my individual beliefs.
Yes. Yes. And your position within.
And you're protecting that.
Correct.
Right? And we don't understand that what does your world look like? And that way you started this conversation in the right direction. Because you first asked, what does ego mean to you? Because you want to see what ego in his world looks like. And you saw how different it was
Yes,
for four of
yes,
us.
absolutely.
And the audience will have a totally
Their
different
own view.
So
And maybe if you open the dictionary,
it'll give
will
another
Oh, not the
definition.
dictionary again.
definition.
so it all how we define our world, and then that's what we try to protect.
Just while we talk about worldview, and for the audience out there, if you look at this cup, obviously I can't talk with you, but what do you see? And I guarantee that I see different to you. You might see a cup that has, for example, a logo, PSB University, and I could say, no, you're wrong, because what I see is a white cup. And I think it's very interesting that we both see a cup. You and I see a cup. What you see here is different to what I see here. And I think that's
But
a problem.
It's still a cup.
Well, and so if we're prepared to be collaborative and communicative and not try and defend through ego saying you're wrong, we could both say, hang on a second, we're both right.
And
But I
find a
think-
common ground.
Exactly right. And I think maybe that's where ego gets in the
So
way.
what you just did, you looked at his world.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, yes, yeah.
What you just
and
did
I
by turning
and
it
I shared
around,
my
your world
I
with
see a
him.
white cup, you see a cup
Yes.
with a logo.
So this is what
Cheers.
we need to do to figure out how do we see other person's world.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to the way we have conversations. How do we structure our conversation, right? So you move to understand where you're coming from before trying to say, here's what my world looks like.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't even need to understand the other people's world. Sometimes you just change your own perspective to gain the benefit. I'll give you one example, about 25 years ago, so I was 35, right? And I used to drive very fast on the highway, right? Right, and the highways used to be open in Thailand, right? But we were restricted by the speed limit. So the maximum I could go was 120. Now if somebody is driving on the fast lane and driving slower than 120, so it used to
Get
piss
you
me
angry.
off. It makes me angry, right? Because he is slowing me down, right? And the same thing, suppose if I am going at 120 and somebody is tailgating me, he
Yes.
wants to go faster. I said,
It would anger you.
this is a madman,
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
right? But then it used to make me angry. And then I was actually trying to manage my anger. So I was trying to see what I can do. And I realized that the person who was actually going slow was creating a long queue, right? And then if you can just bypass him, you have an open road
Yes.
because he has already created the traffic block. And then you have an open road. So instead of getting angry at the slow pokes, you just circumvent them
Yep.
and go ahead, right? And the same thing which the person trying to tailgate you, right? You just give side to them and let them go in front, and then you
but
follow him.
that's hard.
He will clear the road for you.
That's hard to do, and I agree with you, but it's hard to do that because our natural urge for, I take umbrage, you're in my way.
Right.
That's very hard to divest yourself of that. And likewise, the person coming up behind flicking the lights, it's very hard for me
Yes.
to just move over and
Correct.
say, please come through. And I think sometimes, face to face, we're very polite. As in Thai, for example, Savadi Krap, Koto Krap, I'm in the way. But you put them behind the anonymity of a tinted
change into a
glass
different
window,
person.
the animal changes.
Yes.
Right? Hence you have things like road
There's an
rage.
expression, you have to learn to walk away.
Yes, yeah. And difficult to do though.
But you must do that. There's a very good example in a book that I read. It's a true story. Two guys used to work together every day in New York. And you know how they have the boxes at the side of the road with the newspaper vendors?
Yes.
And he used to buy his newspaper on the way to work from the same guy every day. Pick up a cup of coffee, get his newspaper, and he would put his money down on the box for the newspaper vendor. And the guy was quite rude. He was a gruff, grumpy old man, and he'd give him his change and throw it at him. There's your change, Just throw it at him, sort of thing. And he was walking along with his friend one day. He says, "Why do you buy your newspaper from that guy every day? He's so rude. Why do you bother?" And he said, "Well, I can walk away from it. He's got to live with that all day.
I like it.
Maybe he's got a bad life. Maybe maybe that poor guy has got something really wrong
Yes,
in his life, and that's making him grumpy, grouchy.
And again, you're looking then at the other person's point
Yeah,
of
so
view.
you should really feel sorry for him that he's that way.
See,
You know.
Karl, what happens is we are very judgmental animals.
Yes,
in
that's
his
right.
example, in your example, you walk away because you said, okay, what's wrong with this guy? He's a madman.
Well, let him be a
We
madman.
judged him.
Yes.
We are very judgmental. If you shift judgment to curiosity, because it stresses you out, right? When you are judgmental.
Sorry, can we go back to that? Shift judgment to
curiosity.
Okay, this will be good.
Yeah. So how do you shift? Now, see, when you are judging somebody, it burdens you.
That's
So you
right.
carry that anger in you. It burdens
right.
you. But if you shift to curiosity, what makes him drive slowly?
Yeah.
What makes him to feel grumpy? You are trying to figure out what his world looks like.
That's right.
And you like say, he must be having a bad life. And you accept his world to be what it is. You don't allow that to collide with mine.
That's right.
There's a lesson there, which I think this is actually I've learned something new here. To change it from anger,
Judgment.
judgment to curiosity.
curiosity.
So instead of saying this person is an idiot driving so slow in front of me, maybe it's a learner driver. Maybe it's a person who's got some fragile things in the back of the car.
Absolutely.
So it means actually thinking, what if? or why.
What makes him go slow on a fast track?
Yes,
so
sir.
you are curious. So
The example you gave of the madman driving fast behind you, I don't like that. I want them to pass me. Go ahead, have an accident. Don't involve me in my involve me in my family, please.
Yes.
You know.
Guys, again, thank you so much. I think it's very enlightening for everyone. We all have ego, and I think there's some lessons here of how we can maybe manage it better, and not have the acid burning inside us. You know? Again, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So just the last word.
Please.
Right? So you see, it's important to understand the burden that gives you. As a human, it drains your energy.
Exactly.
That's right.
When you judge someone, it drains your energy. So if you all understand the fact that every one of us is a different world, and if you try to see what their world looks like, then
We have more chance of.
then you don't have to defend anything.
Yeah, I like it.
Right? So
And sometimes you can take advantage the way I did, like instead of getting angry, I started taking advantage of both.
The situation.
Yep.
so anger is a burden.
Correct.
So
Yes.
don't make it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Anger's very
Thanks for
negative.
having me.
Again, thank you very much. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Very, very good. Thank you, and thank you very much out there.
Thank you, guys.
And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Think big, stay curious, and don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. I'm Karl Meneghella, and this has been Coffee with Karl. Until our next episode, keep learning. Thank you.